Y'all want to hear some CDs or something? Y'all want to hear some CD music? My laptop is not charged. I was trying to charge it earlier at the Starbucks, and now all of a sudden, now Starbucks got a new policy where you gotta fucking buy something in order to sit down. You know, they don't want the niggas sitting in there getting free electricity. Yeah, because that's what they doing. They come over to somebody's land, settled real good. Now they're no longer the settlers. At some point, niggas became the invaders and stuff. After certain things they realized certain things about who they were dealing with, and they're like, oh, okay, now we don't need them. So let's just take their land and move them out west, and then as soon as we can't move them no more west to like Alaska and Hawaii and Russia and shit, wherever the fuck they was trying to move niggas to, LA and stuff, like Susan, now we can't, they can't move them no more west, let's move them back. Or so I don't know where they moving niggas next, but you niggas went west, and now you was in California or like wherever, Oregon or Washington, wherever shit on the west coast out here and stuff, Vegas is or Arizona. Now they trying to move you more again. So I'm like, where y'all gonna move a nigga now? There's no, like, you gonna move me back to where I started? Stupid niggas, bro. So that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm like, pretty much, I came to a full circle, came to a 360 realization, for like a real epiphany with life, and starting to realize like what's really going on here. I'm back. West Dakota, 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 however you want to say it. But yeah, man. I guess maybe I was just a certain spirit or a certain group of spirits that was just, they banded together, and now I'm like a collection of bands that got wiped out. You know what I mean? And here I am today. So it's like they trying to move me still, and they don't really ever do that. I might have to physically move, but they're not changing my mind. If anything, they just keep adding more fuel to the fire and making me like a bigger beast to deal with the next time. So, I'd be in that situation. Like, I'd be like, why are y'all trying to turn me on, turn me off, whatever it is, when I already turned myself on and I turned myself off, and I turned you on and I can turn you off. You're not in control. So people be trying to control life as if they're God, and they're not. They're fake. They're, pretending to be God and stuff. You can keep shadow banning me all you want. The message is still going to get out there either way. Not even about that. My world, I'm creating my world. So at the end of the day, I'm not too concerned about somebody else trying to, like, physically, in this physical shit, think they got any kind of physical power, because I'm creating my next piece of the atmosphere that is constantly evolving and changing and shifting. So with that being said, happy 5 day. Happy 5 day. Happy Venus Day. Happy Love Day. Which is this specific transition of what we call the sun, which is nothing more than a big old, like, hot cloud. Pretty much just a bigger cloud, and all the other pieces of the sky and the cloud and everything else you see down to trees, rocks, everything comes from this, I hate to say higher But everything comes from really out of nothing, like for real. In that like nothingness, mysteriousness happens where you get this like two things that are really one thing, but these two pieces of yourself that you're trying to emit or emanate are like two aspects of the same space that you're developing this mind inside of. So it's like, or really, you're creating a mind for your space to be in. That's really what happens. You're creating a world for your space to sit in, and that's how you know you got a space based upon your own individual like mind that you create, which would kind of be like your, I guess, if you look at the number 8, like your subconscious is kind of more like your soul, and then like your conscious awareness would be like the actual mind that you create out of that subconsciousness, or out of that like your own interaction with you, because everybody's doing this joining of the two energies or multiple energies to make a new one. So you do that with yourself first, with the help of God, of course, to expand the overall existence, all possibilities, God, nobody, no thing. But it seems that motherfuckers hit a wall at some point individually, right? Because here we are today, things played out a certain way, then all right, let me kind of go into this plane of thought. Hold on, let me get some trees. This is real shit, though. This is real shit because, okay, it's not the other way around. It's not, because the reason why, all right, like just from the physical perspective, we're using things like our body or things in this external realm or things outside of us or whatever, objects, food and things, like whatever is objective, we're using the objective to get back to a subjective kind of place with our new subjective. So we're kind of like, we're trying to take our objects that we created already internal. So we already created from a subjective, we created the objects. So now we're here learning about these objects, like, oh, okay, this is this, and giving names and meanings and reasonings and titles to shit, foreknowledge and Jupiter. And so we'd be like, oh, okay, this is kind of like we're trying to figure ourselves out. And in order to do that, you got to like use what you created to some degree, right? Especially if you got X amount of minds you're lost in, and all those minds are within each other, and it's a lot of sorting out that needs to take place. It's different for everybody. For me, this is the lifetime that I chose to, I'm like, fuck, I can't even, I'm tired of whatever previous cycles. I can't even go back into being a bear again, a bear animal or something. I gotta, you know what I mean? I'm like at one of those lifetimes where I might have been ignoring something or trying to put something off before. Maybe I just wasn't aware of it. Now I'm like being forced like by life itself to pay attention to certain things that I might not have been doing so in previous lifetimes. Slash, this is just a human experience. So, all right. So what I'm saying is, when you go at certain points, right? It was more natural. But I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was where they at. So even in the natural state, say the native Indian land and shit, in that timeline, there was still things going on amongst the natives and the Indians and the tribes and stuff where it wasn't all perfect and shit. There was still It seems like don't matter what civilization or where, it's just some human shit where fucking you got the people that are making shit go and are aligning and shit correctly, and then you got maybe some beings here and there due to whatever reason, traumas or spiritual retarded, like whatever it is, retardation or whatever it is, you might have some beings here and there that are misaligned and not necessarily up to speed or up to par with what everybody else is doing. So those beings might, by default, in that kind of, I guess, like the early stages of some type of seed concept being like separate than, you know what I'm saying? I think this is like the root of how we even got to this point. It doesn't matter whether it was a native or a European person. Like the Europeans were probably doing the same shit, and the natives were doing the same shit, just in two different ways. One way was done. I'm not even gonna go into that. This is not that. This is not that video for that. The point of what I'm trying to say is, at some point, the overall like evolution cycle became disrupted, or, you know what I'm saying, or like the course, the natural course of things, how things were going, was distracted, right? So if you go back, the natural evolution of things was niggas kept balance and moderation. Niggas didn't need to go hunt 30 deer that day if niggas didn't need 30 deer for the month. You get what I'm saying? You ain't gonna go hunt too many deer or whatever the case may be. And you know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers was not unaware of the fact, like, all right, if we go hunt deer, we gotta like make sure these deer replenish and things of that nature. Like, we can't hunt all the deer in this area because then we're gonna throw the natural balance ecosystem off. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much like what happened. Like, at one point things were more natural, like just as far as all evolution, because it's not the human cycle ain't separate than the bird cycle, and it ain't separate than the ant cycle, and it's not like these aren't separate things. These aren't separate experiences. These aren't separate positions. I think that's what the European invader mentality don't quite understand, like, because they kind of started from a more those deserted lands and shit. So they kind of maybe were, their starting point was spiritually already more separate and lost and at war with itself and conflicted and you name it, right? All the ins and outs and shit. But at certain points, like, motherfuckers who used to go hunt they food. You know what I'm saying? Now we're in a world where the convenience factor that what's really what is in somebody else's mind. And I look at it from a perspective of, it was just motherfuckers that couldn't hang. So instead of them wanting to, like, or maybe they just got tired of it, or there's competing. It was really competing of how it should be done, right? So this is not a good or bad. This is just an open conversation I'm having right now, or open, you know what I mean? Just talking about things, trying to, like, from an understanding perspective. So there's understanding. Yeah, so there's understanding. So yeah, like, motherfuckers used to go hunting or whatever the case may be, right? At one point, niggas was using what they made out of they mind and stuff. Now, I get it. Not everything the natives was doing was maybe to the fullest potential with the land and with the resources and things of that nature. Like, if motherfuckers was cool and shit in certain aspects, motherfuckers wasn't thinking about, hey, let's try to build this, or let's try to make this, or let's try to do this. You know what I mean? Like, your awareness only goes as far as the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the atmosphere wasn't really, you know what I'm saying, providing them type of thoughts and feelings to the natives here. Like, all, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let's build a refrigerator so we could preserve our meat and shit like that. Like, niggas wasn't thinking that, which is probably would have been probably a good idea at the time. It would have been helpful, so you didn't have to like come up with maybe other ways to try to preserve your meat. But y'all kind of get what I'm saying. Like, where there was one way of doing things, just naturally going hunting with a bow and arrow, that got replaced with a gun, for example, right? Like a rifle or something. Now, instead of before, um, uh, a being that had to, like, first you had to craft that mentally. You had to like imagine yourself making a bow and arrow and like all the astrology and trigonometry, like all the math and all the ins and outs that go into that mental process of even bringing that into reality to where you have a bow and arrow, and then being like physically fit in shape. Man, it's a whole bunch of shit. But y'all, if you get what I'm saying, I want to like run down this like plane of thought that clearly, like, it took a lot of effort and a lot of skill, a lot of patience, a lot of certain mental abilities you had to have developed. You know what I mean? Patience, knowing the land, the environment, knowing what kind of whatever you're going to hunt. If it was a deer or some type of elk or whatever the creature is, with birds, or like whatever it was, you had to know what the creature was, how to go about it. You know what I'm saying? What time the best time and place to catch that creature if you was gonna catch it. You know what I'm saying? Because there was time, a season, you ain't gonna be no eagles in the wintertime. You know, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. Like you can't just go hunting for a bear pelt if all the bears are in hibernation in the winter. And you damn for sure, you'd be a fool to like try to go to the bear's den and fuck with the bear. Like that would be disrespectful from the native perspective. Like, nah, we're not even gonna go fuck with the bears right now. They're in the caves and shit. They're hibernating. They asleep. You know what I mean? You don't fuck with the bear's hibernation cycle. That's gonna fuck up the honey in the springtime. And you know, it was like it's all intertwined. It's not separate. So that's pretty much like, I'm gonna go back into that story though, because I like where I was going with that. So yeah, like a motherfucker had to, if y'all was gonna go hunting, like y'all group, you know, shit, two or three, a band, whatever y'all band and shit, maybe 20, however many of y'all was, you know what I mean? Y'all go hunting though, like for villages, for y'all people and shit, clothes, food, tools. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was just certain spiritual shit and certain practices and certain games and just a whole bunch of different reasons and variations and shit. But niggas was doing shit naturally off the land and off of the genuine creativity that that goes into that, just for you to even be sophisticated as a group or as a people. Y'all had to be sophisticated in the mind first. And God, that was all God, all possibilities did that. You know, the Great Spirit provided the ideas and shit. And then being aligned with the mama on the land and shit, that was the joining of the two energies. Having your father, the thought, you know what I'm saying, and the mother, the masculine. Having that idea, a lot, you know what I'm saying? Being in the right spiritual place to even come up with the right idea or a certain idea and shit. And then how to actually go about that and carry that out on the ground, you know, in the womb with mama on the earth. And whether you was able and how well you was able to go about that blending of father madam kind of energies was where your position was at in the village or in the tribe, you know, or the military, you know what I'm saying, the band, like that was your status, how well you could do that and shit. And you wasn't really a man until, you know, various prerequisites. So therefore, if y'all kind of get what I'm saying, like when the rifle replaced the bow and arrow, that was already a point in this cycle of things becoming more convenient. Because think about it, like, okay, yeah, now you got this machine object, which in a lot of ways was useful. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to realize like there's nothing bad with anything. It's just anytime we overindulge and go too far, or we do too much, like people just doing too much with these phones, that's creating the mental illness, or that's creating disabilities, or that's creating lack of in other areas, because we're so much paying attention to this one area, right? And all right, for example, like back, say bruh, they gave all right, bruh had a people had bow and arrows and shit, right? Then the gun was introduced. After you start using the gun, you're like, man, fuck, why was we even using bow and arrows to begin with, right? Some people might come up with that idea. That's already, it's like so many points. One point is it's killing culture, right? Like physical machine, logical shit, nothing wrong with that, but if there's no culture with it, it replaces the culture, you know what I'm saying? So at one point, bow and arrow, there was a spiritual practice to that. There was culture behind that. There was meanings or reasonings to that. You get what I'm saying? Also, same thing with the gun and the rifle. I'm not saying that the gun and the rifle don't have symbolism and spiritual components behind it either. It's like two energies, one being one side and one being the other side, but it's like two of the same thing. One just seemed to be more, to me, how I'm looking at it, one seems to be more like life oriented, aligned with life, and the other one seems to be more aligned with death, since one was producing life and respecting life and not disrupting life, and then the other one brought nothing but death, disruptance, and distraction, and more taking away from life. You get what I'm saying? Taking life and not. So okay, so you can't replace one thing without fulfilling it with something equal of value or better, right? Just like in the store. How they say that, right? You know what I'm saying? If you break it, you buy it. All right, well, if y'all niggas broke my land in my country and shit, y'all gotta buy it now. You gotta pay up. You know what I mean? I'm not taking care of a broken glass bottle that I didn't drop in my store. And if this was my house. You get what I'm saying? If you're my neighbor and you come over to my house one day and you're knocking at my door and I'm like, oh, hey neighbor, how's it going? And then they're like, blah, 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 blah. This is going on, you know, this whole story or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm like, you know what? Come on in. Come on in, neighbor. Have a seat. You want me to make you some hot tea? You know, you get that. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it in the shows and the movies and shit. Bring them in and stuff, you know, sit them down at the table, boil some hot tea, you know, boil some water or whatever. You know, you need anything else, baby? You need anything else, child? Let me fix you up a meal or something. And the guy's like, oh, that would be great. Oh, no, oh, thank you. You know what I'm saying? You get them all buttered up and shit. You get them comfortable. They get a little, they get into the homey vibe and shit. Then they start feeling at home and shit. Then they kind of relax up. They stop being so tensed up and shit. Then they start telling you what's really going on, right? At least you think. But that's like this neighbor coming over and shit, coming into your house. You kind of welcome them in at first, thinking like you just trying to maybe comfort them and console them and shit. You know what I mean? Maybe they almost died next door or something. Like, you don't know. And yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like, how they tell them the story. Like, fuck. Or they show up looking like something going on next door. Like, yeah, they might have been smoking a crack pipe or just, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever going on next door. They come like, please let me in. Oh, please let me in for just at least for a second. So we let them in and shit, right? They sitting at the table and stuff. We like, you know what I mean? We helping them out. We hooking them up and shit. I'm like, hey, you need to take a shower or anything? We send them upstairs, let them take a shower, you know, put some new clothes on them and stuff. Shit like that. They're grateful. They're thankful and shit, right? And then it gets to a point where like, all right, you know, they feel ready to go back. They're like, oh, okay, I don't want to trouble you. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, well, just, you know, we're like, all right, well, shit, if you need anything again, just come on over and shit. You know, maybe we could work out some type of agreements or whatever, right? Boom, but all right, you know what I'm saying? So they leave, maybe come back the next day or 3 days, maybe later in the week or something. The little same with so we hook them up, yeah, we help them out again. right? So this maybe this, and then this starts to become like a routine. Like this starts to become a routine. Maybe at first it was cool. The second time's like, okay, yeah, I don't mind helping you. Third time's like, all right, okay, well, next time you come over here, bring some of them fur coats. Bring some of them. If we give you, I'm giving you these furs and shit. Make sure you at least you make some jackets or some coats and shit you can bring over next time. Cause I'm over here helping you out, letting you take a shower in here. You make a mess and shit. I gotta clean up after you and stuff. You dropped one of one of the glasses I gave you last time for a glass of milk and some water. You fucked around and didn't even. You might have took a sip here and there, and then accidentally you dropped the glass. I don't know if you did it on. You might have did it on purpose. But one of my glasses, you dropped one of my glasses on the ground, and you didn't even bother to clean up the glass. And I stepped on a piece of the glass cup, and I was like, I got upset because I just stepped on a piece of glass. I'm like, who the fuck dropped this piece of? Oh, right, dropped a piece of glass in my house. But you didn't. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker didn't even bother to like tell me or like try to clean it up at least. So we started getting those ideas like, fuck, you just go drop a glass cup and not tell me about it or try to clean it up. You got a whole ass house next door. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, at some point, let's just fast forward the story. Somehow we let a nigga come in again, but he showed up with like his cousin, his sister. Might have showed up with his grandpa. He's like, oh, I can't put my grandpa in the home. Blah, 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 all these excuses and stories and shit. I'm like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? All right, well, y'all can stay in the guest room or something. You know what I mean? Like, y'all can stay in the guest shed in the backyard or something. You can stay in the guest shed. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we already a full house and shit. We already like a full mansion and shit. We got a full house. Everybody, we already know roles and shit. Who's cooking what? Who stays in what room? Who's making the beds? We already know. All right, we're like, man, y'all can stay in the shed in the back. And it's lavish, dude. It's like lavish, too. You know what I'm saying? It would have been like Kanye West's guest house. It would have been one of those type of like sheds. It's not even like, you wouldn't even be mad to be in the guest house shed. You know what I'm saying? Like our shit was like made for like, majestic white horses and buffaloes. Yeah, we had like majestic creatures and shit. Our sheds were ready for like, yeah, to put like certain mystical creatures and beasts that we considered to be like holy creatures and shit, and like omens and messages. We were like, oh shit, there goes that all white stallion Pegasus horse. It'd be like some unicorn possibly. We'd be like, what the fuck? Is this real? We'd really be seeing some unicorn like out in the forest. And we'd be like, where's, you know what I'm saying? And then like rub our eyes and then it's gone or something type shit. And we'd be like, oh, that was a message from the Great Spirit. And we'd be like, yeah. All in agreement and shit. So we let these niggas stay in the back shed and, you know what I'm saying? At some point, somehow these niggas, they started expanding, like, yeah, they started making extensions on the shed and with their European castle, like they blended their European, the next door neighbor building. They started blending it with our shed and just started learning certain shit. You know what I mean? They learned certain shit, got put on the game, and then they just start building in the backyard. We're like, wait, hold on, man, what the fuck? We're like, whoa, what the fuck? Y'all trying to build some shit? What is going on here? And then these niggas like, oh yeah, no, it's okay, no, it's gonna be, watch. They start giving us like good excuse or whatever the fuck, a reason or something. We're like, all right, as long as that shit is gonna be for a barbecue and a pool, and okay, like that's what y'all say. And then they actually just extended some hubs. They had probably built a pub in the backyard. They built some whole other shit, like a hotel or something. You know what I mean? Built a hotel in the backyard. And then they like, you know, they was already crammed in the shed. We let them stay in, and they built a hotel extension off of the shed or some shit. You know what I mean? And then now they invited like 20 other, a whole other like 20 worth of parties and shit. Now we got like more niggas in the backyard or something. All of a sudden, we're like, who let these niggas over? Like, how'd y'all niggas get here? And they're like, da 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 da. We're just gonna be here a little bit. Just, you know, it's a hotel and blah 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 blah. Here we'll, you know what I mean? And y'all see where this is going. At some point, these roach niggas took over the whole goddamn property. They took over the whole house and somehow moved all the house parents and all the house men and women. Somehow they moved us out, or they threatened us, like, if you don't get the fuck out of here, we made roach nukes and roach guns and roach missiles and shit. We're gonna shoot you and send your ass up to some whatever y'all sky being that y'all be worshiping or something. They thought we were like worshiping the sky and like the animals and shit, and nature and stuff, because we in this big ass tree house. You know what I mean? They thought we like, just because we in this big ass tree house, they thought we was like birds, and yeah, they looked at us like some other like animal creatures and shit. You know, they're a roach, so they just looking at it from the roach perspective. They a bug, they some type of like lower animal, and they're probably scared shitless. Like, damn, these animals are the, yeah. They was looking at us like these beings are the shit. Like, we're dragons and shit flying. Yeah, I'm saying we was doing all kind of incredible shit. And then here these roach niggas like trying to encroach and get. Yeah, at first we was trying to like help them out, because like, look at these little roach niggas. All right, we'll let them in and shit. You know, give them a few peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and shit like that. And then shit, us trying to be kind and stuff and shit, and be listening to the Great Spirit, and then we'd be like, then we was like, some of us started turning on the Great Spirit, like got mad. Some of us got mad at the Great Spirit, like, here we go listening to you, Great Spirit, and you bring invaders and roaches into our lands, and here we go trying to help them like you told us, Great Spirit, and now we lose everything we had. So it was a lot of like niggas just not being grateful for the shit they had, and maybe just wasn't using things to the most potential, and it took these roach niggas to come over and show niggas like, damn, I guess that's crazy. Like, these roaches fucking made a whole like roach city, roach world, like roach land. And then now we just gotta look on the side like, how the fuck did we get pushed to the side by these roaches? Like, to the point they'd like gang up and just crawl, like, you know what I mean? Like, they would just crawl on niggas. Like, that's how they would kill us. They just smother you and set your shit on fire. They got good at that, because they were like, you know, roaches are hard to kill, bro. You can't even lay down boric powder acid, and you can't even, like, roaches are hard to kill, because you kill one or two of them, then they're already like multiplying and shit by the like plethora. They like multiply by the plethora. The eggs, I don't know what the fuck they doing, bro, but that's what happened, dude. And then like, we might have died, came back. You know what I'm saying? Some of us came back as like esoteric, like pest control workers and exterminators and shit. So niggas had to show up to the house. Like, damn, I used to like sleep comfortably in this bed in this room right here, and then just like drop a whole like extermination pack in the house. You know what I mean? Then we gotta leave for like 7 to 10 days and shit. That's the only way we're moving, like, is because we have to drop fucking we're trying to get rid of the investment. So like, that's really the only time they think they're making us move, but we're really choosing to leave because we're like, damn, these niggas bugging me again. Let me drop another, I gotta drop another, like, I gotta drop some more what they be dropping, you know how they be dropping bombs and stuff. I mean, they bomb a house and just put it on tarp for like 7 days to a week and shit. And nigga, we got our shit on like, I don't even know however many generations it's been now of our house being bombed and shit. You know what I mean? We're like bombing it with like all what God's giving us new, like, here, try this, child. We'd be like, try to like, and then we're like, fuck, it didn't work, God. We try to get, you know what I'm saying? So we dropping like all these like esoteric, like, like esoteric raid and, you know, certain repellents and shit. We trying to get these niggas out the goddamn house, but they multiply and they hard to get out. You know what I mean? And then they be fighting, like the roaches be fighting each other and scrambling and scattering, and then we be like trying to step on them and get them, but then some of them scatter under the couch and some of them hide in the garage. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's like, then they copy our ways with the guerrilla warfare tactics. You know, they copied our ways. Now they like, they come out, be a roach, some weak ass attack. It don't even really affect us, and then we be like noticing, oh shit, let me go get them, and then they like scatter and run, and they be all scared, and they go hide, and be like fuck, and we try to get them, and they be in the area like it's hard to reach, and we be like, man, I don't even want to like, I'm not even gonna try to like get back in there. I can't even fit in there. All right, dude, I'll just wait till you come out again, like that kind of energy. So it'll be like weird. But yeah, man, the at some point the evolution thing, it got bad. Like at some point it was motherfuckers just naturally able to go do shit, you know what I mean? And I ain't saying it's all bad. A lot of things did get improved, like showers, you know what I'm saying? Hot, being able to boil hot water, like that's huge. That's a good, like I'm not even mad. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of shit was for sure like covered up and like disregarded, and they try to act like certain things didn't happen, and they very well know why they was doing certain shit, and they know what the fuck. They know they got like the real truth somewhere in some English book. You know what I mean? Some English test. Some English pre-K, English literature book, whatever the fuck, right? For the England man and shit, like the real English books, not the shit you get in school or in college that you think is an English book. No, they got real English books. Like, but yeah, man. At one point, niggas was like making their own shit, being able to be their own creator, being able to craft a craft as like a ship. You know what I'm saying? So like having your own mentality, a spaceship, being able to craft your own spaceship and your own thoughts and feelings, and have your own mentality as far as how you see yourself. Or sometimes you needed to have a certain mentality to go on that hunt. You know what I mean? So you had to prepare your mind and shit. There might be rituals, certain practices were done before niggas even go out on a certain hunt. You know what I'm saying? And that whole it was everything was very, not, I don't even want, like, this is where like religion and shit comes from, but like everything was very disciplined. A lot of things were very like organized and orderly and disciplined. It wasn't just niggas just doing shit for no reason and shit. Everybody knew when to do something, how to do it, how to go about it, and if you didn't, then it was just a new time, and everybody had to figure that out together. You know what I mean? But it was never a situation where we just gonna leave so and so to fend for themselves and that's it. Like, even if that being thinks they're like, they must have some mental retardation, mental illness where they think they're separate than the village, we're still gonna care for that individual, because we know they're not in their right mind to some degree, or they didn't, you know what I mean? They might have crafted a certain mind that, you know what I mean, suffers or has detriments, or I hate to use the word disabilities, but people create disabilities. So you can even tie that in with the title and shit. And this is like this is all relevant. When you listen to like Dolo the Pilot Mans, or anybody I've watched Dolo the Pilot Man for years now, so I pretty much created my own spaceship, you know what I mean, my own mind and shit. After tearing down a bunch of ideas and shit, and going through my own personal experiences and applying certain things and a whole bunch of shit. But this is how like the native indigenous mind thinks about they self, at least, you know what I mean? So, because you're supposed to be a representation of the land. You know what I mean? If I'm born here and I know the land better than you, what does that say about and you? You know, what does that say about either of us? If I'm born here and I understand and I have a certain understanding, I have a certain ideas and shit that I come to conclusions about, and then there's other people that don't be aware of the shit. What does that say? Like, we need to have these conversations. Otherwise, the world is just gonna keep going the way it's been going, and there's gonna still be leaders and shit or certain individuals that are in certain positions that they don't even really know that, like, it's crazy, bruh. It's really crazy, dude. Cause the native is real. The native nations and shit was like everything was fine, bro. And then they just fucked everything up. I'm not trying to sound like I'm in a bias, cause it wasn't all bad, but in a lot of ways they like fucked up the natural order of things by trying to implement they order, and that was just only in their head. You know what I mean? And it probably wasn't even based out of no actual reality. It was some made up shit. So that's where I'm coming from. Like actual reality. Where like nigga, if you don't know how to grow your own food, you're gonna die in however many days. If you don't know how to go about that, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna die. And then you have to just come back. But at least you know, like, you might have tried in the process, or you know what I mean? Like I'm in that kind of mentality. I'm not in no comfortable, coddled baby kind of mentality, like people being scared to death. Like nigga, I probably died however many times just to be here today, thinking like this. Why would you be scared of death? Death is just a transition. It's not even the, you know what I mean? Like this is death. So that's how I look at this life. Like it's not even life to me. I'm just like experiencing some shit that I know I already created, and I'm not too attached to my creation. So you're not finna see me do some extreme behavior because I'm lost or something, right? I'm shit, nigga. There's shit I barely give a fuck about. Cause it's just like I might have used to give a fuck, but now I don't. At this current shift, this cycle, it's like certain shit I don't even give a fuck about, and that's a problem too. You get what I'm saying? A lot of let me get into that. The convenience shit. Convenience has made things a lot more convenient and accessible. So maybe if there was a time where, you know, maybe it was a bunch of reasons why there was a bunch of pros and cons. So I remember, I'll only go into this. I remember taking this English class in community college. I took some community college a little bit, like a few years ago and shit. You know what I mean? I took an English class. And in this English class, I remember there was a certain like lab. They called it lab, but it was like part of the English class, right? And in this lab, it's like there would be shit we would be learning in the English class, and then we'd have to go to the lab at a certain point in the day, whatever you chose on your schedule. But you would have to go to this lab, this English lab, which was like the library, and do they would have a certain course in there. That was like its own class. So I remember doing this project pretty much was they wanted us to respond and do like an essay, some type of writing project where we had to respond to the topic, and the topic was write about three reasons, or three pros and three cons to violence, right? So and you had to do it wasn't just like, oh, this, and then that's, no, you had to like write some shit. You know what I mean? You had to really write some shit. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I think this is bad, I think this is good, I think no, and then that was it. No. If you know about writing, like you had to tell a story. You know what I'm saying? But you had to use the starting point of three pros and three cons to why violence is bad. Right? I could go into a whole bunch of points about that, but that was the course and shit. And I remember I came up with a mean ass fucking nigga. I came up with God had me come up with all possibilities, had me come up with a mean ass, a mean 5-star course meal, bro. That was so mean. Throughout in the process, one of the dudes would be like, why are you writing? He'd be like, read my shit. Because then we'd have to like show it to the little instructor dude. He might give us a few pointers. We go sit down again and go back to work. Maybe, make corrections and shit. So they had like this guide. Not a guide, but like you could call him a guide. I didn't really need a guide, I suppose. But somebody you had to like, go, he was like I don't even know what to call him. Some reviewer dude, peer review. I don't know. I didn't really need him, but he was sitting down reading my shit one moment and was like, why do you write so godly? Some dude, right? Some white dude, whatever. He's like, why do you write so godly? He was like all amazed or something. I'm like, I didn't even really understand what he was saying. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean write godly? I'm like, huh? I didn't even know what he was saying initially. Like, I kind of get what he was saying based upon me knowing myself and what I was writing and shit. I was like, oh shit. And then he kind of like elaborated on that. I'm like, I wasn't trying to write godly. I was just, this is just how I think. It's like how I make sense out of things. This is how I write or whatever. I was just, this was just my thought process. Like, I wasn't trying to be godly or anything. This is just what came to my, this is what I was aware of type shit. Or like, this is just what I came up with. You know what I mean? So that's like proof is in the pudding. I got all kind of examples of proof being in the pudding. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about some man-made God concept of ego and narcissism and logic. No, I just genuinely pulled from. All right, here's the examples I used. If y'all want to know, my 3 pros was like Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves. That might have been a good time to use violence. According to their history and shit, I was just using shit like a bitch. I was like, all right, well, I remember Abraham Lincoln had to go to war and the whole Civil War and shit. That was some violent times, but it was for a good cause. So that was like one of the points I had was for a justified or a noble cause or something, some righteous cause, right? They helped me kind of frame that in my mind. But that was pretty much like, yeah, like there might be a pro, the time where you use violence for to justify, some righteous act, some act of righteousness or some stupid shit, right? Which now I know like niggas was not righteous at the time. But yeah, pretty much like pretty much though, like the convenience has slowed down at whatever point, but convenience for sure like killed the natural. I don't want to say killed, but for sure like some stopped where, like I was saying, like tools became more important than the actual ability. Like, the external tool that was crafted at some point became more important than the mind, which is backwards. You know what I mean? Your body shouldn't be more important than your mind, pretty much. So that's something maybe certain beings in the world just don't quite understand, and I don't know if they ever will. They get some grace. I guess they get some time to try to come to that realization on their own. But as of right now, what's led up to right now, it just seems like people just been mentally retarded, and they thought they wasn't, and they pretty much killed any form of natural intelligence that was in the world, for real. Like they killed the actual world and created a synthetic reality off of that. And now nobody knows how to create and produce. All people know how to do is like recreate, reproduce, which are just starting points of like duplication. where you gotta take what was already been created. So you gotta take a creation or whatever was already produced. So you gotta take some type of creation or somebody else's production or your own production, whatever it is. If it's the teamwork makes the dream work as a collective, like you know what I'm saying? That's all that be like the shit just be redoing shit. So like you could say like for the longest now it's been just a big old reproduction or a refactoring. It wasn't really they might have been manufacturing and then it got to a point where things just started becoming refactored. The initial thought, the man was the manufacturer. Now how are you gonna keep manufacturing if all the men are gone? If all the men are like dead or in jail or being pushed to the side and shadow banned and shit. How is anybody gonna have a world of anything fruitful or anything being manufactured or anything being created and then like distributed and mass produced? How are you gonna do that if the natural things that were already of the land are dwindling and now are being stripped down to like bare naked? You know what I mean? Like, so this is like kind of what happened. This is what happened overseas and shit. You know, with their they started in that mentality of just being in a deserted land. You know what I mean? To the point they had to come over to the area where it was fruitful, and the beings know like the beings here also know how the fruit was being created, but the being that started in the trap house or something, you know what I mean, in the deserted land and shit, they don't grasp anything that the more mature adult spirit might be trying to express or explain to them or teach them or put them on game to be aware of. If it's not in you, it's not in you. You know what I mean? You can't really. I don't think you. I always thought you can't teach that. Certain people in the world might be more optimistic than myself and more. They got more faith and have more positive energies of going the distance and pushing out things of that nature. I've always been the type to like, man, before we even continue, we need to go. We need to go. I'm back. You know what I mean? We like. I don't hear enough people saying, "I'm back. I'm going. I'm back." You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to go forward if you don't even know if you're back or not? That's how I be thinking for real. So like, it's not enough spirit saying I'm back from that time where things were being self-made. You know what I mean? It's like nowadays, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm self-made. I'm self-made." Blah 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 blah. No, you got self-made by the shadow government or some Mason or somebody. You know what I mean? So you might be self-made, but shelf-made. If anything, you were like shelf-made. Niggas, they think they're saying self, but the H is silent. So they really saying I'm shelf-made. They be, you know what I mean? In their mind, in their spirit, they know they a good toy or they a good like they was a good made, a good object that was made for the, you know what I mean, the shadow government world store shelf. But yeah, man, at some points, motherfuckers was growing trees. Now you got groups of people growing all the trees for everybody. After like they cut down the real trees and now they're growing synthetic trees, like palm trees and shit, for example. A palm tree is a fake. That's not a palm tree is a synthetic thing. So I'm convinced that I'm starting to believe like at some point they chopped down a bunch of real trees and then they probably was already doing this in like Arabia and shit and over there in Europe and shit, planting palm trees and shit. And palm trees were designed, I want to say those are like GMO seeds that were made off or they spun, you know what I mean? Those were like off of they took whatever original tree seed and they made a palm tree or something, right? Or just they took that seed and then went and brought it over there and then it became a palm tree. But it might have, they was trying to take a natural tree that was maybe already here and they thought, hey, let's bring it to the desert. No, it probably produced like, yeah, it became a palm tree or something. Like instead of like a pine tree, it became a palm tree or something, right? Or they just genuinely were like laboratory splicing and doing lab scientific experimentation and shit. This is how they came up with all the other shit they made, like methamphetamines and phenols and Adderalls and LSDs and DMTs and shit. Like this is they mind mentality of starting from like, damn, we're in this deserted land. What can we use around us to sustain ourselves until we get until we find a more fruitful, prosperous land? So they started in some like poor poverty mentality and shit, trying to be like royal and rule and run shit and kings and shit, but they was really like the brokest people spiritually. So at a certain point, it just don't make sense because the people that actually know how the land and the atmosphere come to be and shit, how we even produce an atmosphere, how you even have air to breathe, and how you even think you're finna like have an ocean that is an ocean, and or any gold that was on the ground or any trees. Like niggas don't even know what a tree is or how a tree even comes to be yet. They had the audacity to just think manifest destiny some shit. Oh yeah, it's all right to cut down these trees. And then here they go and just strip the land of like over there first. Before they came over here and did the same thing, but they did it over there first. Whatever they had over there, who knows if whatever, they might have already, like that's what I'm trying to say, like the mind bedded in a certain way. So that land and the way like it is, like Russia just being full of ice and snow in various aspects. You know what I'm saying? That's an element of like things being backwards. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, they created some very far out distant place that was really cold. It might have seemed hot, but it was really cold. Or I mean, it might appear to be cold in the 3D, like snow and shit and ice, but their mind was really like in the heat, in some hot place, in hell and shit. So they created a hellistic environment. You know, it played like y'all don't think people think like to me. Maybe I'm saying I might not have that. I might be saying that wrong. Yeah, like and out here, like in the West, we come from a more cold place internally. Like our mind, it was like some of the coldest shit. You get close to God and shit. Some of the coldest shit. So it played out like that externally, like backwards. Like this is like some of the best external place to be because it's the actual aligned energy where things start more from an internal place and play out externally. So when you come out here, it's like tropical, it's warm and shit. It's not too hot. Cause then that would mean like we was really cold internally. Now you got your days like that, like summer and shit. That's where they say those are the dog days. Dogs are cold, bro. Like dogs are emotional creatures, but a dog can be cold. You know what I mean? Dogs are cold, bro. Like there's times where a dog don't say shit. It just, but you know you looking at a dog though. But yeah, like that convenient shit was pretty much a big part of the detriment of the human like evolution. Not just like people, but like the birds, the environment, like everything that makes up our daily life. You know what I mean? Certain people just thought like the birds wasn't important, the buffalo wasn't important, whatever fish wasn't important, like the bears wasn't. They thought these things wasn't important. Let's just get rid of it. I need a jacket right now. That bear is gonna keep me warm. So he did that, but like out of a greed though. Like there's times where it might have been like you don't even need to eat right now, but they had some type of then they're talking about myself to some degree on a percentage level because I'm mixed, you know what I mean? So I'd be like having a bunch of different experiences and shit. You know, or parts of myself that be like, nah, we're cool right now, bro. Just chill. And then I got this other like European side of me that's just like, Arr! No words. Arr! I don't even know how they even come up with words and shit that they don't even believe. When their whole mind is just all they hear in their mind is Arr! I'm like, how do you even develop a language? I'm trying to figure it out. Like that's how people like really need to think. These niggas didn't do shit. The natives probably did everything for these niggas and helped them out, created English, everything, bruh. Other than that, in Europe and shit, they was in some like and shit like that. You know what I mean? There might have been like slight moments of like they probably get tired of doing that, and then they might, you know, want to drink and party and fuck, you know, whatever. I don't know. That's all like R based and shit. But yeah, that whole concept of like at some point people were more sophisticated. It might have looked like it was more primitive, but no, niggas was more doing shit for they self, and God helps those who can help they self help God. You know what I mean? So that's what it was. It was like it is what it is. It was real teamwork makes the dream work going and shit. And that's really what God is. It's not supposed to be me sitting in my whip over here like by myself. This is not God to me. You know what I mean? So it kind of evolved like the phone, the internet shit, right? So like it's still teamwork makes the dream work. I got people that I'm not just doing this for my own self-serving purposes. This is like a form of education. I know I'm expressing something out there that could possibly help somebody else with their perspective, or you know maybe there's certain things just the environment needs. You know what I mean? It might not even be for no particular individual person. It could just be messages that the air and in this environment needs for where I'm at in Arizona right now. You know what I mean? Air, 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 type shit. So sometimes it's not about the words necessarily. Sometimes it's more about the presence and the vibe and like the energy that you're putting out. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm wrong, because that there's now I'm more aware of that. I ain't so like hot tempered compared to like my younger days and shit. So that's how I look at myself. Like I must have matured emotionally at least in certain aspects, because I ain't so like volatile. I ain't so like, you know what I mean? I ain't so like chaotic and sporadic and all over the place, or so I ain't so reactionary. You know what I mean? I'm more in control of myself. So that's what I realized. Like I can't control nothing outside of me. You know, I still have my moments and shit where I like react to things, but I know that that's not really me. I try to remind myself like just be just be like how I was. I can't be exactly how I was, but try to like re like re I don't want to say redo or like, cause I was just talking about that, but try to like create a new sense of being young again or youthful. Something, it's like we got to always make things, so it's not about me being lost in some previous memory I had as a child or as a kid and like trying to like bring that into the present moment. That might be people doing, you know, video games would be an example. So I'm not like, yeah, let me go. I can't like go back and play my favorite video game all day and shit. That won't even. That won't even bring me no real satisfied energies and stuff now. I outgrew that. You know what I mean? So it's like there's beings here that are ready to move on and do what's new and do the next best, the new thing for what's best for everybody, the collective. But them beings can't move forward genuinely, or like at all. Like the beings genuinely can't move forward, even though the beings that are trying to move them, they don't understand. Like, I'm trying to move forward. Y'all are keeping me stuck or pulled back or held back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like this. Say you had that one student in the classroom. Like, this is just a spiritual example. Like, you got a student in the classroom, or a few of them, 2 or 3 or 4 students, right? That like passed the class already and shit, right? But this is like one of them school systems, and this is really how it used to be. Like, your generation or your bracket or your class, y'all are like a family for real. You get what I'm saying? Y'all are, that's your family to some degree. And it's like, if this is how like the God spirit, this is how like school works in the spirit realm and shit, or just in life really. Like, if all of y'all, no, this is like real shit. I experienced this. Like, I had days in basketball practice or in actual school where the teacher or my coach would be like, if y'all don't finish, if y'all don't all get at least this time on the suicide lap run, or like if y'all don't all get this percentage level on passing the test, we just don't move on. Like, y'all won't be able to leave. They was serious about that. There was times where like we be in basketball practice, my coach would make us stay like extra 30 minutes, even though it was time for us to go home. No, coach would be like, no, y'all ain't leaving until y'all all get the suicide, like, get, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like 1 or 2 niggas that's just like dying or shit. They're like, but then like, yeah, they keep coming last or something. You know what I mean? They might be the fat niggas or some shit that never fucking run ever. You know what I mean? And then now that they like everybody else is on the line and shit, it'd be that energy. So like, even though there'd be some niggas that are like clearly passing every test, passing all the goddamn all the assignments, doing all the homework early, ready, like probably questioning the teacher like, why am I even here in class? And the teacher would even be saying, looking at them too, like, why you guys show up here? You guys already passed. You guys are already adults. Why are you still in class? And then we'd be like, we have to be here because the rest of the class hasn't graduated yet. And it's almost like we're assigned to these kids, or we're assigned to these other spirits. We can't just move on and go to the next class and graduate the overall school process because we're tied in with these niggas. Like, I can't even move forward. They won't take me in the next class. They'd be like, where's the rest of your class? We'd be like, man, they're still in blah, 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 and they're still in Earth class. And then, like, you know what I'm saying? That class would be like, go back to Earth. Don't try to come into this class yet. You didn't graduate. It'd be like 4 or 5, 6 of us, like, ready to move on. We'd be like, fuck, dude. Like, we'd be like, are you damn near kind of mad? I guess we can't be mad, but we'd be like, all right, fine. You know what I mean? We can't argue with the Great Spirit. You can't argue with Walking and Talking. You can't argue with the school principal and shit. You can't argue. Like, no, don't even try to argue with the teachers. You might get expelled. You might just get expelled out of existence, like, for real. So we'd be like, all right. We all be like looking at each other like, fuck, let's try to, like, all right, what can we do? So we'd be like thinking like, let's try to like help them, because we can't let them cheat. You know what I mean? We can't just like do the test for them and shit. They gotta still do the test and come to the. So it's like, it's deep. I might have been in the same class, like, bro. Here I'm like well an adult, bro, but I'm still in the classroom because it's like a bunch of chill, like, a bunch of baby spirits and shit in the classroom, or like little kid spirits and shit. They ain't passed. They're not even nowhere near passing the test or finishing the class. You know what I'm saying? They might be still on like certain answers on the test, maybe question 15, whatever the case may be, they be like sitting there however long they need, and a lot of them, the average be like failing out, dropping out and shit, and like they don't even want to like finish the like do it for real. We'd be like, fuck it, are you serious? We'd be like trying to talk to the teacher like, look, I'm not trying to argue with you, but can we just move on so that like they don't shut down the whole school? It's getting to that point, you know. God's like, man, I might just shut down this whole school. You know what I'm saying? We're trying. We're like the few adults. We're trying to like teach them, and we're trying to like, but they're babies. We can't speed up that process. What do we do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want us to do, Great Spirit? What do you want us to do? Waka has no words for us. We'd be like, damn, we gotta come up with something again. We'd be trying to come up with answers and solutions each day. Seems like it's like insanity and madness. And then we just be getting messages from the holy ones and shit, like as far as like maybe new methods to try out, and like, all right, try this. Or we'd be like trying to try this, like, all right, let's bring some food or something, and maybe like put something in the food that, you know, some herbs or some certain type of spices or something that might help the babies like speed up their mind development process. Like some of them be kind of there, but be fake retarded or something. They keep like struggling on an answer like they might already answered and shit. We'd be like, you could move on to the next question now. Like we'd be trying to give them like little hints and shit, little incentives to like, it's hard to explain. But yeah, that's like my allegories right there. And the whole overall class can't evolve. So we be like, I'd be not panicking, but I'd be like, there's a sense of urgency. I know I ain't the only one, but there'd be the sense of urgency, like, fuck, dude, are we just gonna get held back again? And we'd be like, bruh, like, I'd be like, I'm not trying to, I really don't know what to expect, but it'd be like, man, we'd be like fake kind of nervous, like, is God gonna just shut down this whole school? Yeah, I mean, like none of us might not exist after this, bro, as a collective. Yeah, like shit, it might be a handful of spirits that come back into the next type of cycle. It might be like, you know what I'm saying, like 2 hands full at that. Most spirits that are gonna organ implode and go, and if they come back in the next body, they will most likely be like very retarded, more than they are now, or more disabled if they was born like extra chubby, or like a lot of people are just dealing with all the yeast bread that was fed since they were like 2 years old and shit, 3 years old and stuff, and they wasn't drinking enough tea in that process while they was doing it. So a lot of that like gunk stuck to their innards and shit. They never like was playing basketball at high velocities to at least maybe burn a lot of that off. Well, you know, if they consumed something, they wasn't like running it off the next day. So now I know why I was so fucking retarded, and why I might not have been what kind of image I thought I was supposed to be playing basketballs, because I was eating too many goddamn DiGiorno pizzas. And maybe if I was like a more in poverty type of character, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I would have been more deeper internally motivated to like want to dunk the basketball hard as shit because I didn't eat nothing all day, and I might have all this raw power. Maybe the only thing I ate was some fucking orange juice or something, some water, maybe like a little meal at lunch that one of my homies shared with me or something, because, you know, we be looking out and shit, but niggas know like I'll be kind of depressed or something, fake depressed from my own personal shit at home. So let me not even eat, bro. I'm just gonna show up and just go ham. It's like a lot of that, bro. A lot of these energies is just like, yeah, it's a lot of shit. Like the native was like still going hard, but like the native could have went harder because just certain things the native wasn't aware of, because the native didn't have to be aware of that shit. You know what I mean? Like what? Like natives wasn't thinking, oh yeah, let's take this gold shit and make fucking Cuban links. Niggas wasn't thinking that. We was like trapping spirits for there to even be any gold ore and shit. Like we were the gold, if not and then a lot of the spirits that might have passed away or or died or whatever the fuck case may be. A lot of spirits would like return back into these gold pockets and shit. You know what I'm saying? Until they was like until they raised themselves up again to be a more favorable humanoid type of creature thing or whatever. But you know, then they might go back to that gold reality and be a gold. You know what I'm saying? It don't be the rock itself alive, but it be, you know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't have a piece of whatever material resource if it wasn't certain spirits already in that state of being in the like in the esoteric realm, which is real. This is real shit. Like there's not gonna be no grass. Like the grass is greener on the other side. Like it's not gonna be no grass on the other side at this point because niggas rather they rather have paid out the road and shit and put stop signs and stop lights and shit. Now there's a green light for you to go when before it was just the grass would grow and it was green and shit. Now it's like the green grass became like pieces of like money and shit, which is being printed out of a machine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we went from real grass to like artificial turf grass that is like plastic and like, you know, some synthetic grass. It's not even no real grass with roots. So that's something they didn't do. Also, they were always in this energy of like convenience. It seems because they never got to the grassroots issue of why they even was lacking whatever resources to begin with. They just was in this mentality of survival mode. And nigga, if we gotta go take from some other land, somebody else's shit, we're gonna do that. And it wasn't initially that. You know what I mean? They initially were probably just going out of their way. They was searching, but when they did come across these lands and shit, they had to initially work with the millions of tribes and shit. It wasn't just they were like, oh shit, okay, there's motherfuckers already here. So they had to like adjust and, you know, kind of play stupid or whatever and let the natives take care of them, and then they would, or maybe they were real eager to want to learn. Like, hey, they were maybe more genuine at that point, like because they were on the brink of dying and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but as soon as they got comfortable again, then they started going about all right, let's set up shop energies and they got bees, honeys, and what is that over there? They got honey and stuff. We could put that on. We could put that in jams and we could put that on our English muffins. That kind of shit. That kind of shit. We could add butter to the honey and make, you know, what? The other day they started getting like new ideas how they could improve they already pre-existing shit. So that was just like, yeah, it was like might have been cool for a little bit, might have been exchanges going on, but then at certain points they just brought too much over here and tried to like dominate and like move the actual land and shit. Like the land, they were being moved by the atmosphere and the land and shit was moving them. That's why they even got pulled over here. And even when they were here, they might have been like, you know, more in these energies and shit where it's more, you know what I'm saying? So more, there might have been more jiggly puff energies and stuff, more females dancing and jiggling around and stuff. They probably was getting like extra horny and shit in ways they never got horny before. And they were like, what the, yeah, they would start questioning themselves and self-reflecting and all confused and lost in the sauce. And you know what I'm saying? Instead of just going with the natural flow of things, they were like fighting themselves and trying to put blocks up. And you know, there's more to it. It wasn't just all like an overnight thing. You know, it was a lot of like, as weeks went by, as months went by, as years went by. This was like a yearly thing, generations, even decades, from like, you know, 1400s, 1300s even, but mainly that 1500s, 1600s was like a main time, that seven energy and stuff. So it's like that's when things started getting severe, and things started getting severed, and things started getting real snaky and real like slithery and, yeah, real just severed. You know, they severed themselves from, like, because it could have, if you could kind of imagine at one point. Imagine all the native nation already being established, everything being fruitful here, all kind of trees, fruits. There was an order to things. Motherfuckers wasn't just out of order, like trying to grow watermelon out of season. You know what I mean? Niggas was growing things in season. That's why we even got the concept of grow season and all the mixtapes and shit. Grow season and shit. There's or open season. That's the thing. Like there was a time where the natives knew, like, all right, we're gonna go hunting now. You know what I mean? You don't just go hunt in the dead of winter or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Especially it's already cold. There's parts in certain areas. There's too much snow and shit. It's dangerous. You even try to go hunting, you're liable to like die just on the trip before you even get to your hunt or your goal. There's like more obstacles and challenges and things you would have to try to get. You know what I'm saying? Get through and uphold and shit. You need more resources and you have to get more resources at that time. So it was like, man, it's deep, bro. It's some deep shit. But now we here are today. Things are just super convenient, and that's these people and they starting point. They was maybe just trying to as far as they family. That's how I'm starting to realize it. Like if your family is somewhere and you ain't doing none of the work, you might just be pushing out orders and shit. You probably thinking about just accumulating as much resources as you can because you're not even really in life like that. You're just somewhere like tucked off, and everybody's working for you and building up shit and all kind of shit going on, and you just be like somewhere trying to again put the things in order without even being in life for real. So this is where a lot of even during that time, like a lot of disputes would be between like the U.S. cavalry, you know what I'm saying, the military guys and shit, the white man dudes and shit, or the red coat, blue coat energies. A lot of the times they would fight amongst themselves. This is why we even had the Civil War and the Revolutionary War to some degree. Was like the French and the British were fighting each other a little bit, but then they'd be like working together behind the scenes and like weird shit. But so it seems like there is no side. Everybody's like secretly trying to like just take care of their own family tree, or this was just like a certain seed that was started at some point, and it really only goes back to these cats. Yeah, to some degree. Like I ain't gonna totally say that, but like I don't know. It's weird, bro. It's like weird because when you know there was a nation here of natives and millions of people and ducks and all the creatures and stuff, all the natural bugs and butterflies and the prairies and the plains and the Great Lakes and the fish and the trees and like everything, bro. It's just like this was a paradise. Imagine you coming from some cold, moldy, gray London, Kings and shit. It was probably barbaric. It was super barbaric. You were liable to just be if you were even you know what I mean. You were liable to be hanged and shit at that time. Well, that might have been something they got from the natives. But what was they doing? They was like doing people dirty over there, like putting them in them like certain chairs and shit, them torture chairs and shit, them torture cages and shit, all that goth shit, all that like Transylvania, uh, Odin, just all that like dark and and Nosferatu, all that like dominatrix energies. Like you want to chain niggas up and whip them and all that kind of shit. Like that's like over there kind of energies as far as the European man clan, like that European KKK to clan man with the Clash of Clans man, Clash of Clans man. If you know about Clash of Clans, the app, that's pretty much their energy. Clash of Clans, and it was like whoever was just the hardest killer, murder, I don't know, whatever. Whoever was getting down the hardest though, coming up with the coldest mouthpieces and back to supported by the sword, that's who they gave credit to or something, right? You could lie, whoever lied the best, as if they some type of super He-Man character, and then whoever was like able to enforce that the best with their sword powers and brute strength and all this extra shit. And that was like or even some mental shit. Like who was mentally more domineering and more cutthroat, who was mentally more cold with like they sword and would just cut anybody's head off. They would just cut anybody's head off for no reason and shit like that. So fucking yeah, this phone dies too fucking quick, bro. With the YouTube live and shit. I pretty much gonna call it a short. I'm gonna call this live done here in about 5 minutes, but I'll finish my point. So yeah, out of the sake of convenience, people as a collective, no matter what background or ethnicity, the entire collective has been like retarded pretty much. So like at one point things were expanding, and then now the universe has been contracting. I don't even want to say the universe, but existence, right? Because universe is just a man-made concept of them trying to just control this part of the existence, this atmosphere. Shit, they don't really know what the fuck is beyond this actual reality and what we creating as this atmosphere. Because it's all here right now, so you can't escape. You can't get out of the atmosphere. You're gonna always be in something. This is how you have a mind. This is how you have a spirit that creates minds, and then you as a spirit, it's like you're trapping yourself in your own mind. So when you for anybody that thinks their mind is the spirit, that's why, because your spirit is like God, a piece of God that you're supposed to take care of like a baby, and you might have it in the seat, in the back seat. And if you're not aware of that, your ass is gonna be driving and flying all kind of crazy and shit. And then your piece of God might be crying in the back seat, like, ah, tripping, because you don't know how to steer or fly the ship to the point you might even crash. You don't want to crash with your piece of God, your baby in the back seat. A lot of people do, and then they gotta like be in that aftermath of like they just crashed they shit, but they baby's kind of damaged, but it's God, like all possibilities back there. So like baby's crying, if anything, you try to like, oh, okay, well at least my baby's still alive. But now you got to be on, like, now that individual or those people, you got to be on foot now at that point with your baby. And who knows, wherever you crashed at, you might be stranded in like no man's land. There might be no thought there. So it'll be like an individual in their own piece of space until they could like get out of that Jack Sparrow end of the world round. Yeah, that little scene from the Jack Sparrow movie, from Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean, where bro was just on the beach for dummy long until he like, I guess he pulled his boat out of the ocean or whatever. I forgot how that scene went, but that nigga was stuck on the island, bro. That nigga was on the island, bro, for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And that's similar to the Matrix scene where Neo was at the bus station. Or not the bus station, the train station. When he was underground in the train station, that nigga was at the train station for a minute. You know what I mean? He was damn near going crazy at that train station. You know what I mean? And the little girl popped up, the little Indian girl and shit. Yeah, it's all witchcraft, bro. It's all like they all just speaking in code and shit, and all of it's all about how they took over the native land, and that's it. Yeah, man. That can let me, because I know I kind of keep going into different little allegories and metaphors. So, but yeah, ultimately the convenience is convenience. It killed the natural like hustler spirit to some degree, like not entirely, but it for sure like killed the like, I don't want to say killed, but yeah, like the raw natural things that were just made by God of the atmosphere and things, and that the cycle of like rain and shit and overtime and trees, and this was like a process, bro. This wasn't just like gold was here to like all of a sudden after 10 years. No, like that took hundreds of years probably, certain spirits dying and coming back and respecting the land and doing certain honorings of the land and shit, and offerings and shit. It's a lot of shit that goes into just what somebody with a basic ass mentality I don't think they'll quite get it in this lifetime. You know what I mean? As much as I hate to say that, I would like for people to grasp it, but a lot of just reprobates and shit. A lot of people that don't give a fuck about growing anything. They just want to be taken care of because that's how they've been trained. You know what I mean? So like, it's not until you like you as a spirit. I got tired of that being in that energy to the point I just like took myself out of that world because that shit was like synthetic as fuck to me. I was like, man, let me go live my life. And even the other beings in my family household, everybody was telling me, man, go live your life. So I was like, man, let me go live my life. At least enough to like bring something back. You know what I'm saying? I didn't just like go out and just keep going and that was it. No, I like went out, realized a bunch of shit, hit some points and shit. It was like, oh, okay. All right, let me, before I keep try to expand any further, like, let me bring some of this back to my peoples and shit. Like, that's what I did. And I think that's what you naturally are supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to go out, maybe go over to the next state, you know what I mean? Maybe go travel a little bit, you know what I mean? I just went and did it by myself. And back in the day, it probably would have been like me and a band of motherfuckers. There was times where I wasn't just always by myself. I had moments where I had my other people with me and shit. Where I tap in, I drop through, pop up on some motherfuckers and shit, help them with something, maybe help a motherfucker when somebody had a a slight crisis or something. Thankfully D was there. You know what I'm saying? So I might have been a demon and shit, but like if I was ever a demon in this world, it was because I know I was an angel first. You know what I mean? Like I was a certain a higher angle first, and then I brought myself down into the density, into the condensed way of it, because I know that's the only way you could. That's like the only way as far as our spiritual, creative, like manifesting, materializing. You know, you're gonna manifest and then you're gonna materialize it. It don't mean no good if you're just somewhere in your mind and then you never put things into action and in the world to test things out. So at certain points, that's what I did. Like, I didn't know exactly what I was doing until all possibilities reminded me, like, this is why you're here, and such things occurred. So it was almost like I was seeing the future in a lot of ways, intuitively or instinctively. Because sometimes I would just do shit like, man, let me show up, man, let me see what bruh's doing. It might have been for my own personal desire, but I usually I was like, nah, I'm not just going there because of my own desire. Something else was pulling me to be there. And a lot of times I was there to because I helped myself. So I was able to help myself help expand life. And then with that being said, it's almost like now my gift that I receive from life or all possibilities is having that kind of awareness and shit. So I must have did this in previous lifetimes already, or I was early enough to experience certain things early enough in this lifetime. Maybe I don't remember it necessarily, but the shit I do remember, I know I put in X amount of energy towards for me to, I guess, to develop the kind of mind that I developed for this life and shit. And a lot of shit just happened that was just like trauma and traumatic experiences. My early bringing, like shit, y'all would never understand. And shit, shit like like what parent allows that, or like you know what I mean. So I never really had no actual parents, you know what I mean, because they didn't really give a fuck about certain shit. I'll just say that certain shit just wasn't a thought. I guess I thought I was like, man, to me that would be like, hey, like what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? In my head, I'm like, you just gonna allow that? And then they would just kind of they just would allow that, and I'd be like, damn, really? Like I'm hearing shit, and they just allowing certain like, damn, dude. So it was like, I don't know. I just been this kind of being my whole life, and I kind of started coming to the conclusion like I'm kind of like an esoteric police officer in a lot of ways and shit. For God, like for all possibilities and shit. Anytime I see some foul shit in the world, I'm here to correct it. And it might look like I got to do the opposite energy and the most crazy. I might have to look the most crazy and shit to balance out a correction, because it might have been the most unnormal shit somebody thought was normal that they were participating in, and so many beings that add on to that the idea and shit. And if that keeps going on and 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 on, at some point it has to like it gets imbalanced. So in a lot of ways, I be I don't even be thinking it. Like, I really be a vessel for all possibilities. And I done been put in certain situations or certain moments with people, like, for real, to possibly help save somebody, or be at the support, the moral support, or at least just to be another witness, like another, at least somebody else was here. Like, I just wasn't, like, that person just wasn't alone in that experience to themselves. It might have been too traumatic if they was by themselves there. Shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Where I just show up and I don't think I might not have really even helped nobody for real, but I did though in certain ways, like that I may not have been aware of, and maybe the other person might not have been aware of until like time goes on. And then people could kind of like look at what happened or look at reevaluate and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll give y'all an example. There was a time where my homie I was staying with my homie. He was letting me I guess I crashed out, but he was letting me stay there. And this was in Northern California, Sacramento and shit. Now I already know. Now I know what Sacramento means. That was like a whole, that energy of just that city, town alone, and it being the capital city of the state. That was like a main like point with battles and shit between the natives and whoever was pushing natives out here and trying to religious convert the natives and shit. After pushing niggas more west, they was still trying to convert us. Like, that's the crazy part, bro. Here they go, already moving us from our original position land-wise. They didn't really change our mind, so they trying to physically move us, but our mind ain't changing. And then here they go trying to convert motherfuckers next and shit. That was the next thing they realized, like, oh, okay, we know their ways, they learned our ways, let's convert them over now. So they would play on that, like, real evil shit. At that time, it was just shit that was just going on. Like, I guess it was just fair game. Like, it was almost expected to happen. Like, if you didn't try to convert me, you wasn't being a genuine invader, or like you wasn't being a genuine settler or something. So it's like they had to go that hard because the seeds that they started and shit back in Europe and shit like that. But it's like, it's so much, all kind of deals, all kind of ins and outs. It wasn't all bad, you know what I mean? It's maybe certain things were agreed upon. It was cool for a certain amount of time. Then all of a sudden, niggas got moved over here. And then all of a sudden, it was a group of motherfuckers together. And we'd be like, how did we all get here? Exchange stories and shit. And it started sounding familiar. Like, oh, these niggas is playing us. Like, because they told y'all one thing, and then they told us one thing, and then they told them one thing. But yet, we all here in the same fucking position. Like, we all here in the same areas. Like, how the fuck did they do that? How the fuck how did we allow them to do that? So it was like a lot of shit happened, man. A lot of shit happened, dude. A lot of lies, a lot of Mortal Kombat deception was going on. A lot of wives were probably, a lot of adults, what do they call it? Adultery or something. A lot of cheating was going on. Damn, for sure was a lot of cheating going on. It'd be like certain females and shit, maybe in the tribe. They might have been a solid community of tribe and chief and the father of the land and shit. Here you go. Like, as soon as the white man came over and they kind of making some headway, certain people start buckling and shit because they wasn't used to that. Like, this was some new shit. They're like, well, who the fuck is this? This is like a death plague. This was the real black plague story. They was talking about themselves coming over here and just, it was already the white inside and then red on the outside. The apple, the natives was here, the apple and shit. So they came here and like blacked it out internally, and then it turned into like blue externally, or like purple, which is like cold. You know what I'm saying? When you think about your feet freezing to death, that shit, your feet and your hand, you know what I'm saying? Your organ or limb will start to turn like purple, and then it gets darker and darker, like black at some point. You know what I mean? But it's really just like a dark, like a dark purple or red, dark red type of energy. But they was like black on the inside. It seemed like they got to be black on the inside. If they're looking at the natives, like the native was white on the inside, red on the outside, then they got to be, I'm looking at the exact polar shit, the 180 of that. They got to be fucking black on the inside, blue on the outside. And that's how they look too. Like they blood. And if you think about blood, like the blood, your blood is blue, but when you look at like a quote unquote white person, like they be all red in the face and shit, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's because they're. It's almost like their blood is outside of their skin, already being in that, like already, in, like you know, with the air, they say the air hits the blood. That's why your blood turns red, but inside it's blue or something, right? But something about the alchemy, the chemistry with your blood, and then the air or something, right? That's what they say. And it kind of makes sense though. It's like some oxidation, whatever they say, like oxidation, whatever the fuck. But that makes sense. Like they probably black on the inside, even though their bones are white, but they feel like heavy internally. Like it's allegory, like heaviness. So they like lost and shit. They got all their colors smeared and they black on the inside. And maybe the one color that they was able to like kind of like separate a little enough was the red and shit, you know what I'm saying? But or blue, you know what I mean? But it plays out like backwards. So they're like, you know what I'm saying? Their red is like it shows through the skin. So they really be like inside out beings. It's like crazy, bro. That's how I'm looking at it for real. Like these niggas be like red in the face and shit. So they blood already hit a certain layer of their epidermis, or their epidermis, they got like weak skin. They don't got like tough skin in certain aspects. So the light penetrates a certain way, and they really be cooking on the inside because they blood is like interacting with the air and the light and shit before they even bleed. So they already like, you know what I'm saying? That's how, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what's popping in my head. Like, I ain't trying to knock y'all white people out there, but I'm just talking about them certain phenotypes where they just be like all red in the face and shit, and they get all red on the outside, or they get sunburned and shit like that. Yeah, because it's almost like their blood is already on the outside. It's already outside. It's already outside of them. They're not even like, they don't even feel fluid internally because like all their blood got pushed to the surface or pushed away or something, right? Like they created a mind like that, and just go out, go out, go out, go out. So they created a body like that, where their body is just trying to go out, go out, go outside of itself all the time. Because it's almost like they starting point is like they created a mentality that, or they hate themselves in some kind of aspect. So they body play out like that, where they just constantly trying to escape themselves, constantly trying to get high, to get run away from themselves, or constantly go out here and take from somebody else who know thyself, and take from theyself, and try to like fill that in, and they still be satisfied. So it's like this constant, they in some like expansion contraction synthetic thing about trying to be fulfilled, where the native was already fulfilled and learned how to use things outside of ourselves in moderation, because we know like, all right, I don't even need this like that. I don't even need to use that much of it. You wouldn't even feel like, you wouldn't even have the greed inside of you. You wouldn't even have that energy inside of you. Your body would be filled up with other inspirations and shit, other in spirits and other good, yeah, it'd be other shit you'd be motivated about. Like, ooh, I'm about to grow this today, or I'm about to go do this. So you like spend your whole day preparing for that dinner y'all gonna have at the you know what I'm saying, at the campfires, at the fire and shit. It's about to be a whole big old party and shit, nigga. I'm not finna eat all. I'm not. Why would I eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I try to go hunt? And like, it's not even the time for that. Nigga, we about to eat later. Type of shit. And you could like, and then even then, you gonna probably eat just however much enough, and then you know, niggas wanted to dance or smoke. You know, you probably got your peace pipe going and shit. Or niggas might make music. We might eat just enough to like sustain ourselves, and then we might have a whole night of just singing and dancing while we're having our meal and shit. Like, you know, maybe stop, have a bite or two, get back, you know what I'm saying, sit down, get back to it was like everything was done like organically. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna eat right now. Nigga, we might have not ate for 2-3 days, 4 days, however many days. because it was spiritual things first. It wasn't just eating for the sake of like some greed or like to fulfill yourself because you're already because like niggas was internally lacking with shit, so they was trying to just accumulate the most of whatever they could to make themselves feel better internally, which they never did. You know what I'm saying? To the point they even made nuke buttons. You know, they probably don't. They don't even like. They're probably looking at that button every day, like they probably don't even want to even really use it like that no more. Maybe at one point they were like quick to use it, but now they're like seeing the results of what happened before. They're like, there's still billions of people out there we didn't get rid of. You know what I mean? They probably be thinking about it like that. We can't just nuke everybody. We would just fuck up the ground, the land and the soil and shit. So it's like they already spilled a bunch of blood and shit. They don't want to like and burnt. You know what I mean? It was already like controlled burns and then certain burns that just was out of like vengeance and hatred and manipulation, right? So like the natural like land itself scorched. Fuck. And then they went and then they laid cement on top of it. Fuck. Like now nothing could grow up under that ground because they slabbed fucking concrete on top of the shit. It was already like bad, like the ground was already scorched and fuck. Maybe it could have been maybe healed or like something could have been done. No, then they want to lay fucking some mixtured concrete shit from the castle world. Now you walking around on a castle brick. You walking around on a castle every day. Like people don't know how to think. Like you're walking around on a castle, some George Washington dollar bill pyramid brick thing that you're building each day. With like each step on the cement. Like people don't understand. Like that's why go back to Billie Jean is not my lover with the light with the fucking when he was stepping on the street. Yeah, each little step lit up. That's a real thing. Like I really do that. There was a point nobody was. I didn't see nobody out here walking, bruh. Like there was I've been here maybe a couple weeks now, on and off. I might go here and there and shit. But this little main strip is like where I be at. This little street right here. Bro, now there's like I'm seeing people moving around and shit. At one point I didn't see nobody out here moving around like that. You know what I mean? Now it'd be like people moving around and shit at the intersection around the corner right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have an influence. You know what I mean? And if you're like one of the only beings that's alive, they need you to like come down the street and give some life to their goddamn Hollywood star fucking walk of fame and shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit would be dead fucking tile and dead cement and nothing but concrete and stone, whatever the fuck stone, and that shit would just be lifeless if somebody didn't come give it some life. You know what I mean? And once you leave, it's like, is that street even alive anymore? So this is where people don't even understand that. Like they think they hurt me by like, hey, you need to go, you need to leave. We got new rules, new policies. You gotta go, or whatever the fuck the reason or excuse is, right? Yeah, I'd be like, all right, at this point, I don't even got the energy to like want to argue or fight back, dude. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, well, you ain't going nowhere, but all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on them. Because they're kind of forcing me to leave to some degree. You know, even if they don't got a sword or a gun in my head, they're like, hey, we got this policy. That's a word. That's a sword. You know, they're trying to cut me or something. And they're like, oh, sorry, but you got to leave. And so I'll be looking at the person like, that's okay. Because I already know you don't even really want to be here doing your job and shit. So I'll be looking at them like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, what am I going to do? Cuss you out now? I'm like, man, I'm tired of that, bro. I realized like I would just be, it would be like justified. So now I'm just like, I'm gonna just kill him with kindness. Like, okay, I'm just gonna smile and shit. Might just look at you, let you know how serious I am, or how serious I don't really even take none of this shit. And then the person they self is gonna know that they wrong by thinking they doing something. Like they think they just doing their job, but in life, not in some synthetic world, not in some fictitious world, not in some monetary gain society world, European ways and shit, where everybody just trying to make a buck. No, like the actual deer, the buck is actually, you came across a buck in the jungle, in the wild and shit, or it walked into your Starbucks, and you're trying to tell the deer like, deer, you can't be in here, or that star like, nah, you can't be in here, you gotta go. What the fuck is Starbucks anymore if they're moving the star, the main star that shows up, like knowing they a star and shit, but they're like, we got this new policy. Okay, fine. That would be the end of Starbucks then. Yeah, that's the end of Starbucks. I'm trying to let y'all know right now, Starbucks will no longer be a thing going forward in the future. Because they don't even want niggas like me to come in there and sit down and maybe draw and charge my shit real quick and dip up out. No, they're like, you got to buy something if you want to sit in here. Okay. All right. Okay. Because that's how the natives was treating the people that when they showed up here and stuff, and they wanted to, like, you know what I mean, maybe get away from they trials and tribulations overseas and stuff up under their family structure. Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's what the natives get for trying to be nice, trying to be kind and stuff, trying to be actually our kind. You know what I mean? Genuine people and shit. Like, all right, nigga, I'm gonna take care of you because shit. Okay, that's crazy, bro. I never had like the sky and the trees and shit. Like that shit ain't trying to move me and get me out of the atmosphere. Life itself isn't trying to get rid of me. Why you got people in the world that think they just doing a job and they think they ain't like actually they're trying to move, they're self-reflecting. They really be trying to move themselves because they know they've been stuck and fixated. They just think they're doing a job, but when they go home, they know what the fuck. They look themselves in the mirror and shit. They know like, damn, I feel like I'm stuck at this place. You know what I'm saying? So niggas like me come around, they just doing a job, but I already know the starting point of that is like they trying to move themselves, especially if they some fat fuck dude that don't look nothing like me, bro. I got a six pack. I be out here moving around I move my legs around, nigga. I jump around. I'm physically in shape. I'm almost 30 years old. There's niggas my age that already look like they almost 60 and 70. Like they already look like there's people that already should, like they close to like being in a hospital bed. Where I already did that. Like I already been in a hospital bed for being me, like for being moved so many times and shit. Now I'm like walking for fucking days and shit. I end up in Hawaii and shit. I'm like, man, we go somewhere where I can at least try to be free, bro. Nope. Even in Hawaii, dude, you're still fucking, they're trying to move niggas around and shit. So I realized, like, damn, dude, there's people in the world like that would not dare to try to tell a bee what to do. The bee is just gonna like go from flower to flower and shit, right? You know what I mean? Like a bee is a bee. There ain't niggas telling the bees how to move and shit. And if they do, there's probably one of them bee dudes with the smokers and shit. That's a different thing. But say a fly or, you know, a fly flies into Starbucks, bro. They ain't trying to move the fly out of there. I don't understand, bro. When did humans in their mind start thinking that they could control the atmosphere? That's the starting point of all this shit today. Niggas thinking they could control the atmosphere and don't even know what it is. You know what I mean? Don't even know what life is. They think they could just control life, put it in a box, tell it like, hey, you can't be here right now. You gotta go. Like one day it was okay. Now it's like now and then, you know, some days go by. Now it's not okay. Y'all don't make sense. How was it okay at one point? Nobody was saying shit. Now, like a little bit more time goes by. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. So this is how we look at shifts, like for real. Like, oh, okay, like that shift is dying out for real. That shift of me thinking, like being able to like genuinely just go in the and sit down and shit. And that's what I thought Starbucks was for originally. For niggas to want to be in there and like lounge, do business. You know what I'm saying? I was going in there to charge my phone and shit, my laptop, because I don't got nowhere to fucking do that just every day, other than now this. But if I was outside, nigga, I'd have nowhere to fucking charge my shit other than like the fucking library or something. So yeah, I was going into Starbucks or various places and shit. That's the least you could do. Since you already got a multi-million-dollar company and shit, y'all ain't fucking struggling, having to be outside and shit homeless. The people that own Starbucks, you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, nobody would have ever started a Starbucks if there wasn't natives already here being the stars. For real. So it's weird, bro. You see what they trying to do? They try to move the actual star so they could play, so they can act like they're the star. But none of them know how to be a star at all. And like one day they're not gonna have no Starbucks drinks to sell to anybody because there's not gonna be no more goddamn fucking water for anybody to use, like possibly, or no bean. Like there's not gonna be no more coffee beans, or like something's gonna occur where whatever you think you have now, you're not gonna have it at some point 20 years from now if you're still alive and shit. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just getting more sick, bro. I don't see it getting better, bro. I see it getting like way worse. They trying to make everything more private property. Like, nigga, it might be illegal to walk down the street someday, bro. They tried to do that in 2020. Like, they was trying to catch niggas outside. Like, I was going outside regardless, bro. I'm like, man, you ain't finna like stop me from going outside, bro. I was seeing goddamn the military little trucks and shit down the street, and police cars all blocking off intersect. Like, it was really it was a militarized time for anybody that went outside. You seen how the military concept was mobilized. I forgot the terminology, but when they start mobilizing or some shit, then they get into this military state of emergency, which was a video game and shit, which was about goddamn everybody rioting and looting and shit. So they'd be trying to push this like fear mongering concept to the highest degree, because it seems like they just want everybody to like have this final implosion. Like that, some sick niggas wherever they at. It's like they create and manipulate. It's like they want everybody to just kill each other, and they want to watch it. So, and that might make them feel better. Like, that's what's gonna probably. I'm assuming that's what they're thinking. Like, that's what would make them feel better. Like watching everybody else just destroy each other, because to them it makes them feel like they are like, look at them, like ha ha ha. Now they're like us. You know what I mean? Or like some shit like that. Or like, look at these dumbasses. You know, like some weird like ego trip where they looking down on everybody, not even being in life. They just look at everybody like a bunch of numbers. And this like world, like this like computer game synthetic world that they're creating. Like they look at this like some type of video game reality they made, like GTA or something. Like they made a GTA out of actual life because enough people played GTA as a video game at certain points, or spiritually, right? Enough people paid attention to this GTA concept. It played out like that. You being born into somebody else's world. Like, some people not even the main character. A lot of people are just filler characters. They just be the filler niggas in the game, bro. Going down the street on autopilot, not even knowing why they robotically in that function, but they just keep doing it. And they never like grow. They mind never grow. They mind never see nothing new, nothing different. They stay in this whole little like chamber. And that's how they get spirits, bro. For real. Like, they got niggas really in different chambers and shit. Harry Potter, what was that? Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. They got niggas lost in so many different things, bro. You could be lost in a Harry Potter movie. Why? And then also be lost in the Twilight movie at the same time. And then also be lost in the Power Rangers. And then also be lost in the like goddamn a Best Buy store. And then also be lost in the 21 Savage song. And then you also might get lost into like Central C in the process. And then you also might be lost into like New York Times, Big Apple, Manhattan mentalities and shit. And then you also might get lost into like that Subway sandwich you was thinking about since since 12 o'clock, and now it's 3 p.m. So like you feel like I ain't eat that Subway. Yeah, you might get lost in the Subway sandwich, and then while you're on the way to the Subway sandwich, you might come across go past a GameStop and get lost in the GameStop sign when they're just advertising the video game about Assassin's Creed, and you might not even fucking know shit about nothing Assassin's Creed, but here your mind getting trapped just in that side image poster, just going by the Assassin. You didn't give it one thought. But here you go, your subconscious pulled it in. Now here you go, fucking shit. One of your family members ends up in jail or something. Their whole character got assassinated. Why? Because maybe you didn't buy them certain headphones that they wanted from Best Buy, and then goddamn that led them to not like they wasn't listening to their music or something. So they fucked around and got into some type of altercation with like one of the niggas on the block or some shit over a goddamn Subway sandwich. You know what I'm saying? But normally bro would be listening to music, but you didn't buy the headphones for him from Best Buy. So he on the block with the homies and shit. The homie got a Subway sandwich, didn't split it with him, even though the homie said he was gonna split the sandwich with him. And then bruh ate the sandwich in his face. Now bruh getting in an altercation over the sandwich. But maybe if he just had his headphones and he was listening to his favorite song and shit, he might have not even been tripping about the other half of the sandwich. He might have been elsewhere, maybe in the studio or something. You get what I'm saying? Maybe he would have been in the studio making a song and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? But his whole character got assassinated just because his homie didn't want to share a fucking Subway sandwich with him. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. It's like layers of just like niggas could just get lost in the layers and shit. And it's like, how would you ever even know, bruh? Get lost into a Michael Jackson video. Billie Jean is not my lover. At each walk, dun, 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 dun. Each step you're like lighten. You think you lighten up the goddamn cement ground and shit. It's all in your mind. All of you in reality, the cement is still cement. It's dead. It's concrete. It was remixed by some Migo niggas named Jorge, Carlos, and goddamn Pablo or something. You know what I mean? Or Eduardo or something, right? Or fucking, you know what I'm saying? Hector or something. Yeah, always like a Victor or something. One of these cats making cement and slapped it down on the road. You think you over here two-stepping down the street like Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. Yeah, Billie Jean's not my lover. You think you lighting up the block. Shit like that. And then here you go, fucking just the only niggas that goddamn got all that power and stuff was the goddamn concrete construction build. You know, the concrete niggas, that concrete business. They just rose in stock. You know, they just like hired like 1,000 employees or something, or like now there's like there's places that, you know, they get new calls and shit, like government calling them like, we need you to contract, lay down concrete, cement, build a corner right here, build it whatever over here. You know what I mean? Whole time you was like actually being alive and shit, dancing, moving around and shit, listening to all possibilities and shit, listening to the wind and earth, wind, and fire, and then all of a sudden you show up, do a few star dances and shit, and where it was like they was getting ready to shut down a property or whatever, to close up shop. All of a sudden, after you hit a few star dances and shit, you imagine like, this is my goddamn property and shit. This is my land. This is my building or something. You know, this is an abandoned. They didn't want this shit. This is my space. And then all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 days later go by. Now all of a sudden they want to start tearing down that very same spot you just hit a star walk on. It was already in the works, but like they for sure was delayed. Who knows how long it would have took? They probably would have went that shit, sit there for months. I think you sped up the process. They was like, oh, we gotta get this before it fades away. Ooh, we gotta get this. Ooh, we gotta grab some of that shit before it fades. Let's catch some of that gas. Fucking fiends. Niggas don't know how to create shit for themselves. And then they want to try to like get the beam that be the actual star beam emitting light and shit. And then they want to like do a bunch of random ass shit to make you hot. And it really just be all a tactic so you like get more aroused or more excited to like emit more awareness and shit, that so they could maybe get a stretch of it, you know what I mean? After you like after you like beam it all the way to them, it might reach them if they're lucky. They might be able to like scoop a drop or something, like get a little raindrop and get a little like drip drop or something. Yeah, like, but they really trying to figure out like how do we even get to that location. So I ain't saying I'm just here like on some gatekeeper shit, like I got to a space and then now I'm not finna let nobody here. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm also aware of the fact that I'm repeating some kind of like generational cursed trauma where my whole life it was just been some shit that probably goes back to the Indian days where niggas want to keep taking advantage of me when I'm being kind and shit. I'm being myself. I'm like, here you go. Niggas want to take that for granted, or like they never even needed no food. Nigga was just, I don't know, bro. Like your mom's Puerto Rican. The fuck? You didn't even like, nigga, you got money, bro. Why'd you asking me for my lunch every day, bro? This is my special meal and shit. Nigga asking me to share a piece of my lunch. This fucking Puerto Rican motherfucker had a goddamn mom with probably $50,000-$60,000 plus dollars. Nigga was never struggling. He never brought no fucking lunch for me to eat. That type of shit. Shit, a lot of people never fucking dealt with. Because they probably not really native like that. Not really native like that, dude. I don't care who you are, bruh. And I'm not saying that shit had to happen to you, bruh. Maybe y'all rectified whatever y'all needed to rectify. But in my spiritual path, I've been dealing with, it seemed like the same repeating shit. Niggas come into me wanting me to share with them, and then they never could equalize what I just fucking shared with them. And then I'd be feeling like, okay, well, it's weird because I know I can create more. Like I'm infinite, I got infinite value. I don't feel like I'm not gonna be able to give more. I feel like I'm gonna be able to replace or replenish or create more, or whatever I'm tapped in with is gonna make sure like I'm good. I'm never just gonna be like starving or whatever the fuck the case may be, right? So I never even was like in them energies of like, that was some like learned behavior to me, you know what I mean? Because I was always kind and try to share with niggas and shit, make sure people was cool, you know what I mean? Or maybe I was like, I don't know, but such a spirit that was getting hated on. People who just like want to take my shit. That's it. They just want to take from me and then like not really include me though. You know what I mean? Like I never understood that. Even my own family, dude. Like I got family members and shit that would like want me around and stuff. But then when it came down to like maybe some shit that actually saved their life, possibly they didn't want to listen to me. You know, I'd be like, don't go. I'd be like, they want to like ignore the non words and shit. I'm over here giving you body language, emotion, expression in the face emoji. Trying to let you know, like, no. I don't trust them. Don't go with them. I'm not going to say that because them niggas are right there at the door. But my bro, I'm like, looking at him like, nigga, if you go with them, you see my face. You know what I'm saying? Nigga would see my face. Now, he might have been kind of retarded. Or actually retarded. Maybe he wasn't good with facial cues and shit. Maybe he couldn't comprehend that. Even though he might have seen me like giving him a certain energy. He knew what I was giving him. He's not dumb. I think nigga ignored me, bro. Nigga didn't want to take my okay, fine. Nigga go get taken advantage of at the gas station or something. Like they come back like, bro, little bro, should listen to you, little bro. Yeah, I'm little bro. Right. Yeah, I'm the little bro, huh? Yeah, whatever makes you feel better. Kind of energies and stuff. So it's like I've been dealing with this like energy that's just played out through people my whole life, and now I'm realizing like, damn, I ain't even been actually around nobody genuine. Everybody just been synthetic thoughts and feelings spawned from the shadow government, like the Sons of Liberty niggas and shit. You know, these niggas that invaded and took over and shit. Well, they settled, but yeah, like the people I thought were like people to me, they're like possessed. They're like demons possessed. So I be getting like, I'm still kind of confused to this day. Like, I'm not trying to create no world by myself, like synthetic or something. I'm just in a world by myself, but at the same time, I'm not really a part of nothing in this dead ass, whatever this fucking dead ass shit is. Dead ass. Yeah, dead ass. Are you dead ass? Are you dead? Are you dead ass? Dead ass. Dead ass. Dead ass. Like dead ass. Yeah, why are you looking around? Yeah, you know you feel weird, huh? I don't even be. I just be talking, right? People, and then I notice like people's reactions about me just talking. I'm talking to myself, or I'm talking. You know what I mean? Here I am doing my shit, and then I go. I'm like, all right, well, how is me and my energy right now influencing what I'm putting out, right? I'll be trying to see that, like, oh, okay, oh, fuck, oh, okay, move, right, move, oh, move in ready, huh? Move in, special, Mulvane, Mulvane, Mulvane. Does that say Mulvane or move in? What does that say, Mulvane? I don't know what that means, Mulvane. What is the word Mulvane? Movein? Because I know vein is a vein. You know what I mean? E is like an A, so it's like what? Mulvane? More being lost in the vanity? Is that what they saying? Special? Like this is a special deal. You could get really lost more into Mulvane, like Mulvane. Mode, some type of MO, emotion, you know what I mean? Some type of like like movement in. So they're trying to have whatever they got as a special, they trying to move it into your circumference. Like this is all how I look at shit. Everything is trying to get inside of you so that it could whatever the fuck it has to do internally in this like esoteric layer before this. You got a real home and a real property. So like whatever they did to the natives, they doing it now to everybody else. Like they'll set your land on fire internally. That's like heartburn or something. Like externally that's like heartburn to somebody. Internally that was like somebody had their whole goddamn like shit lit on fire by the goddamn them niggas. And the way it was done was by like some type of invasion, aka somebody ate some food that came from outside of them. So like somebody else's creation, a bag of chips, for example, and you eat you eat some bag of chips, and you start getting heartburn or some shit. Yeah, that's like you let them niggas come inside of you and fuck up your whole fucking world and fuck up your internal worlds and shit. This is serious. This is some real shit. Everybody's like kind of cooked, right? Everybody's like really cooked right now. People don't even know how they're discombobulated and how one organ they got over here might be down there and shit, and you might have like a cancer cell tumor, a bunch of tissue accumulated in certain areas you might not even be aware yet, but it's playing out as like early stages of like you having Alzheimer's or like mental illness in whatever aspect, or like certain pains and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this be people's daily life and shit. They just ignore that little like pain they had and shit, and just keep doing the same repetitive goofy shit that got them in that same situation to be feeling like, why is this pain there? You know what I'm saying? They never deal with that internal shit. Instead, they go get another Subway sandwich, or they just keep going to work, or like, all right, let me go make some money today. And it's like people just be really lost into their own distraction, not wanting to like look at their mind and shit. And some people's mind is probably like hideous and super ugly and super probably just super disgusting. They don't want to look at themselves because they know they full of shit. They face be all full of shit, bloated and shit. Who knows? Pepperoni. They got pepperoni acne out the butt crack. You know how you got acne in your butt crack? Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or they butt head. They like a Beavis and Butthead character, so they like grew up like thinking they was regular and shit. No, you got a butt head. You know what I mean? You shit out your mouth. You talk shit, okay, but like not the good shit people want to hear. It might be some bad shit. You just spewing out of your mouth and shit. So it'll be like a whole bunch of people like, their ears be like in their asshole. So they might hear you come back, or you about to try to talk to them or something. They be like, huh? They can't even like really understand you because they butthole be like, or it'd be like being spirit, just Lucifer being trying to copy you, like not even trying to copy you, it don't know nothing else. So that's what the child does. It like copies and wants to copy the parent, you know, the parent and shit. So like you might do something like to your own time, and then here you go out to the world. Now all of a sudden, everybody want to like, all of a sudden now everybody got these cars with fucking AK-47 alarm keys. Like you hit the, like they got, all of a sudden now they pushing the button a certain way, like how you was pushing your to lock your car and stuff. But they shit is like brrr, beep, 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 like some weird shit. I'm like, and then like you go somewhere else and somebody got the same fucking car keys and the same kind of alarm system and shit. I'm like, how the fucking all y'all fucking alarm fucking shit sound the same now? What the fuck? Be niggas in completely different locations hitting the same fucking horn button on their car keys, and then they hit it a bunch of times like, and then I'm like, hearing that, I'm like, okay, maybe once I thought it was some weird occurrence. Twice, I'm like, that's kind of weird. A third time, I'm like, stop fucking copying me. Fucking Lucifer, go, why you stop copying me? Yeah, I see what you're doing. Fucking weirdo. Weird shit. Y'all wouldn't, man, I don't believe in shit. So y'all wouldn't believe my life. You wouldn't believe my life, man. But yeah, this has been a live about how convenience is leading to, like, you know, mental retardation, and really the evolution, not just human evolution, but the birds, the fish. That's human evolution, since humans are allegedly the more evolved animal, and they seem to forgot that they somehow like did the most animalistic shit that none of the other animals were doing. Like, you never seen a lion or whatever type of carnivore animal go slaughter all the other animals in the jungle so that it could feel better about being a hyena or some shit. You get what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't the bitch ass mouse in the jungle like teaming up with all the other mouses and shit, and then like figuring out some advanced synthetic ways of only the shit that, I don't know, somehow the mouse came up with after watching the lions and shit, and watching all the other animals and shit interact and stuff. Be a godly teamwork makes the dream work. Even if some of the gazelles, maybe a gazelle here might have died, but you know, there was still about 1,000 gazelles left. You know what I'm saying? And then by the time that next gazelle needed to be eaten, maybe 10 more gazelles were birthed. You know what I'm saying? So it was never like, it was always this expansion concept. Like, yeah, okay, we was gonna take a life, but we knew that if I was taking a life, there was already 5 or 10 lives to replace that one life. So I wasn't taking really a life from life. I was equalizing shit, you know what I'm saying? Or making sure it didn't get too in that one direction of nature outweighing, you know, manner. You know what I'm saying? Now we're at a point where technology outweighed nature. You know what I mean? Where people think now the phone and the technology is what is natural and shit, what nature is supposed to be. Even me right now, like, I probably shouldn't be on the live, but what else is there to, you know what I mean? Like, what else is there, bro? They pretty much fucked up everything else, bro. I can't just like go try to like create some shit that's new. They got a whole bunch of private property signs everywhere, and if I even tried, they might put me in jail, or put me and my group of people in jail, or like make us move. You know what I'm saying? We might get all situated and shit, get a whole little community going aspect. They be like, all right, it's time to pack it up. Y'all ain't paying permit taxes. You know what I mean? And even if we're like generating a new source of revenue or income, or creating some new shit, no, y'all ain't on the block with our God.gov licensing certificate, piece of paper signed off by all the other people that agree with these terms and conditions, and it only favors us and our family, and y'all got to pay us taxes and shit and citations and all the get down or lay down mafia. You know, yeah, this is our mafia ring. Y'all ain't finna like create y'all own family business. Like, just, you gotta be a piece of shit scum spirit to like really hate on somebody else like that. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna change. Like, I'm not finna ever be like you. You know what I mean? If anything, I'm just gonna love myself more and try to love people more. But you're never gonna convince me to like try to be the same way as y'all, which is just straight fucking filth. I give y'all some credit, you know what I mean? Like, thank you for creating hot waters and showers and sinks and toilets, and it's not all bad. There were certain stop signs and certain signs that need to be in place and shit, because maybe it was causing, unnecessary deaths in the past, or it's not all bad, bro. I'm not just totally knocking y'all, but at the same time, y'all niggas ain't right. Y'all niggas is totally wrong, and y'all haven't equalized for the fact that y'all just wiped out a whole goddamn like system, pretty much. You wiped out an entire system, and then y'all brought in y'all faulty ass broken down what do you call it? Like old fucking Sega Genesis broken down console and shit, when niggas had like we had nigga niggas had game spheres and shit from the Drake and Josh show. That wasn't even, like, where's the game sphere at? I thought that was gonna come out and be an actual console. You know what I mean? But I guess the natives was already, like, we was already doing that. We had the real game sphere going and shit. Here they go bringing over like old Sega Genesis Road Rash video game energies, chain on a motorcycle bike, Road Rash and Mad Max, and like, why don't y'all just make a movie genuinely about y'all Mad Max story, like the whole start of it? Don't like add nothing from nobody else. Why can't they just do that? I don't know if they can. They don't know where they came from. And if they came out of thin air, or the natives know, like, look, natives come out of thin air and they don't believe that, who knows where these niggas really came from? Because they don't even believe in what we're saying like that. And this is how we got here. Everybody, like even them, but they don't even believe the actual being that's trying to let them, like, look, dude, this is how you got here. This is how we all doing this. The animals and everything, the ocean, the air, the tree. This is how we all got here. Maybe you should adhere to that. Maybe you should listen. No, they want to like keep trying to move. They're like, man, get this nigga out of here. They want to keep trying to move you at that point. And like, then niggas get moved. Okay then, bitch, motherfucker, go ahead and suffocate. You're not gonna have whatever the fuck you think you finna like have by moving me. Go ahead, suffocate. You're gonna, at some point, you're gonna run out of fucking air to breathe. Fucker. That's it. I'm ending the live on that note. Air.